Perfect. Kwame, can you hear me from your end?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
Hi, thank you for being with us again. Before I introduce you, I would again establish some house rules for everybody. Please mute yourselves and disable your videos to optimize visual and audio quality for everybody. And keep your questions streaming in. We'll be gathering a couple of questions and we will pose them to Mr. Kwame at the end of the session. And with that, allow me to please introduce Mr. Kwame Manu again. Thank you for being with us again. Kwame is a data analyst at Vodafone Ghana and also a published author of 4 papers on the application of technology in healthcare. He has extensive experience in data analytics and has delivered on several key analytics solutions at Vodafone Ghana. Kwame is also responsible for digital marketing analytics at Vodafone and has led highly successful digital marketing campaigns. In addition to his current role and research work, Kwame loves to teach and has served as a coding instructor for the Vodafone National Coding Program for the last 2 years. In his spare time, Kwame loves to read and play the piano. So with that, Kwame, I will pass you the presentation and I believe you'll be sharing your screen from your end. Is that correct?
Yes, I will.
All right, so here you go. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm happy to be here today. I hope everyone can see my screen. Right, so as clearly indicated, I really love to teach, right? So I had a good time on Wednesday when we talked about Google Analytics. I think from some of the feedback that I got, probably would have been good to, have more time or probably have a live practical session. But I'm really hopeful that what we did on Wednesday was, helpful to people and also giving them some background, right? So today we will be speaking about Google Ads, right? So for those of you who were able to join us on Wednesday, we understand that Google Analytics is a web analytics platform that helps us to basically understand what users are doing on our website, okay? So the key thing here is you don't want to operate blindly, okay? We are now in a digital world. So if you have a website, you are promoting your business or anything, one of the key factors is to try and understand what people are doing on your website, all right? So sorry about that. So today we are going to speak about Google Ads. So let me just pick up this story, right? So before we all got digital, most of our reach was through TV. Okay, so that's why I indicate here that TV was king, right? So for those of you who were, in the late 90s and early 2000s, those of you who were from rich homes, you had TV. Some of us were outside playing in dirt and all that. But those of you who were privileged to have TVs at home, both here in Africa and abroad, most of these brands used to reach out to people via TV. So there were so many ads. They still run these ads, right? But TV was the main focal point. And what that meant was if Coca-Cola had any product that they wanted people to know about, it was through a TV ad. And basically that was the trend until the first online ad was placed online, right? So this led the way for what we now see as online ad platforms. Okay, so this happened on the 27th of October, 1994. So there was this commercial online magazine called Hot Wired. Okay, I think the parent company is Wired. I don't know how many of you know Wired. It's a print magazine. So Hot Wired had this website, right? And they had a key issue that they wanted to address. Okay, so they had set up this online platform, online website that, you know, they were um, tell pushing out stories and all that. Okay, so what the problem they had was that they needed to generate revenue. Okay, they needed to raise money to be able to pay their writers. So then they had a strategy meeting, and then they thought, um, well, we have our website, we have a lot of people coming in to read stories. Why don't we convert a section of our website into an advertising space? Okay, so on Wednesday, I made this comparison with billboards, right? So this is the kind of thinking that the team had back then in 94, okay? So they thought, I mean, we have billboards all around us. If you want to communicate something, you put up a structure and then you put your banner on it. And then basically these billboards belong to companies or individuals. So you pay them, you rent the space for a period. So this was the same kind of thinking that they had back then. And so they went live with it. Okay, so they picked a section of their website, and then they placed this banner there. Now, from what I researched, I think AT&T paid. AT&T is an American telecom giant. I know most of you know AT&T. So AT&T paid $30,000 to put up their message or their content or whatever they wanted to tell their customers. They put it up there for 3 months. Okay. Now this methodology has evolved over the years, right? So back then, it's just like the billboard space. I want this space for 3 months, and then the company will charge you $30,000. Now, this something really interesting happened back then, and I think it's something I also stretched on Wednesday. Like web users, like this digital generation, they are very delicate. Like they easily change or lose interest. Now, what happened back then was when AT&T ran this campaign, their click-through rates, if you remember what click-through rate is the number of times whatever message, ad, content you send is seen versus the number of times that users engage with it. Engage with it meaning maybe they click on it to end up at the destination. Now, the click-through rate was 44%. Now, if you're into digital marketing, and you run a campaign in this current times and you get 44%, your end of year bonus should be like $1 million or something, right? 44% is mad. Like it's so out of reach in our current times. Now I'm about to tell you our average click-through rates now, and it will amaze you. Okay, so for display ads, the average CTR is click-through rate is 0.35%. Okay, I'll explain what display ads as we move along and what search ads. So search ads, the current CTR is 1.91%, and that is the average across most industries.
Sorry,
Okay, so
Kwame, to
yeah.
interrupt. A couple of the ladies cannot hear you properly. So would you mind just increasing your volume a little bit more?
Okay, sorry.
Apologies.
Yeah, I hope it's better now.
Can you all hear Kwame? Can you please respond in the chat box, please? Okay, all right then. Thank you so. Apologies for interruption.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I hope you can all hear me now, right? So I'll just go back a few steps, right? So I'm talking about the first digital or online ad campaign I ran. So AT&T paid $30,000 to run it for 3 months. Their click-through rate was 44%. That was back then in 1994. Presently, our click-through rate for display ads, it's 0.35%, right? So that is how far it's fallen. And that's why most companies do spend a lot to try and get conversion now, because users have kind of adapted, right? So sometimes you even show ads and they really do not engage with it. They engage with it probably later or something, right? So back then, because it was a new phenomenon, that's why they were getting click-through rates of 44%. Now, introducing online ads changed a lot in the advertising space, okay? So right up to 2016, most companies were spending more on TV than they were on digital advertising, okay? So when you compare when it was introduced, that was 94, right up to 2016, most companies were spending more on TV, right, for advertising. Okay, it was right up to 2016 when this changed. Okay, so digital advertising completely took over in terms of the amount of revenue was generating, and the trend has continued to date. Okay, so it's like it's creating a gap between digital and TV, and even there's a comparison as well between desktop and mobile as well. So a lot of the campaigns are being run on mobile devices, and the revenue is also increasing in our current times. Okay, so this trend shows how much money Google has been making from advertising since 2001. Okay, now from some statistics say, okay, so Google gives us a lot of freebies, right? So even Google Analytics that I mentioned on Wednesday is completely free. I mean, they've put in a lot of effort and they're giving it to us for free. YouTube, you don't pay for YouTube. Gmail, you don't pay for Gmail. Google Maps, which has changed every aspect of our lives, which apps like Uber sit on, is completely free. So then I know some people wonder, how does Google make money, right? You are doing all these things for us, which we really love. How do you make money? It's through online advertising. Okay, so some stats indicate that um, Google's revenue in the last few years from advertising has been 95% of all the revenue they generate. So this is how huge online advertising is to Google. More than 95% of their revenue comes from online advertising. So what that should also tell you is that a lot of companies, a lot of businesses are spending money in the advertising world, not because they have money to waste, but because there's actual value in there. Now, after I've run you through everything, at the end, I will touch on the actual value, why it is not a waste of money, why companies are spending so much, and why Google is making so much money. Okay, so Google Ads was previously known as Google AdWords. This, I think the change was made in 2018, and that was when they consolidated their search, display, and video advertising. Okay, so basically, Google Ads is an online advertising platform that helps you, in simple terms, that helps you reach potential customers or even your actual customers. So the online world is more like a new world, right? So first, we used to say I'm going online, right? Now people actually do live online. We spend so much time online that we need apps to tell us that we are spending too much time, right? Even on Twitter, some time back, I saw in some other countries, some restaurants turn off Wi-Fi so that when people come there, they actually stay offline and talk to people. You get it? So that is how much time you spend online. Now, this is why Google is winning. It's a whole new world on its own. It means there are so many different people coming in, right? And it's within different geographic areas, right? So Ghana, for instance, we have a lot of people online. So if I have a business here in Ghana, it means all these people that are coming online, they are my potential customers. For example, here in Accra, if you are trying to create Google Ads, right, for a business in Accra, once you enter your location as Greater Accra, which is the capital, Google will tell you your potential audience is 3 million people, right? So these are all people that Google has seen come online. These are all people that you can actually reach. Okay, so that is what Google Ads helps you do. It helps you sell your product. It helps you promote your product. You want to run a campaign, anything of that sort. The audience is online. Google Ads helps you reach these people online. Okay, so we'll get into all the various aspects of Google Ads, like what you need to do and what can help you actually do better, because you can actually spend and not see real value. It's very possible. Okay, so yeah, some people still refer to it as Google AdWords, but it's been rebranded to Google Ads, right? So just like I did with web analytics, I am just going to touch on a few keywords so that, like, once I mention them down the line, it's not too alien to us. Okay. Now in the bottom there, I've placed a long list of Google Ads words that you can refer to. So this will help you. This is just a sample of it. So an ad campaign is basically just like a campaign that you want to run. Okay. So within that campaign, you define your objectives. You define what you want to do, whether you want to do display or search. So display meaning, I'll explain. I have given like specific examples. So display ads or search ads. Okay. So within each campaign, you define, like I mentioned, your goal, and then you define what budget you want to spend, or the campaign type. Campaign type, as I already indicated, can be search, display, video, etc. Okay, so an ad group is a set of, so when you're setting up a campaign, like maybe your business, you do, example, you make African print. Okay, so when you're setting up an ad group, you provide a set of keywords. So keywords are what customers can find you with. Okay, so you need to be really specific. So the advice here is you put yourself in the shoes of the customer. If my business is I do African print, or I sell food, or something, right? I make pots. If I'm a customer, what will I search for? Like and you can get inputs from actual people. Like you can just interview people, like, or just talk to friends. If you are looking for this business, what are some of the keywords that you use? Okay, then the campaign type, I think I've explained it already. Keywords, just like I explained, there are words or word phrases that you define or choose for your ads, and you need to be as specific as possible. Now CPC, is cost per click. Okay, so this is how much, after so many factors go into this, right, which we'll get into. So cost per click at the end of the day is how much you're expected to pay for each click of your campaign or your ad or your banner. Now this is different from the early days digital marketing, because as I mentioned, you pay for a space, right? So I want to run this, to give you the space, 3 months, you pay a fixed amount. But cost per click, this is what makes it better and even amazing, because Google is giving you value, right? So you don't pay if people are not engaging with it. So it's like Google is placing a bet, right? I can get people to click. So I won't let you pay until they actually click on it, right? So that saves you a lot of money as well, as compared to AT&T paying 30,000 and not even knowing if people actually click on it, right? So alternatively, CPC can also be known as the PPC, pay per click. So that's the actual amount you pay per each click. Okay. So quality score, it's also another key term which I will delve deeper into, right? I'll just leave it for now, and then when we get there, probably it will be better to explain. It will make more sense then. Okay. So these are the type of Google ads available. I mentioned the ads, the display, the search, the video, and the apps. I'll get into a few of them down the line. So this is search ads. Okay, I know a lot of you have seen this before, right? So you are searching for something, and then maybe I'm looking for digital marketing courses to do. So once I enter that, there are few results that pop up with this two letters, ad. So that means these are promoted ads. Okay, so these are not your normal, these are paid search results. Okay, so these are the ones that have the ad the ad attached to it. So once you see that, these are paid for, right? So these guys have paid for their results to pop up on top. So down the line I'll explain to you why it's really important to do this, right? So probably let me give you the stats now. So 98% of, should I say, searchers or people that search online, should I say, find what they are looking for or click on a link on the first page. I don't know how many times I've left the first search result. So when you search Google, there's a first list and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, whatever, right? Now, data shows that 98% of online users, people who search, don't go beyond the first page. So they find what they are looking for on the first page. So that means you need to do whatever you can to get your business in the first list, because then you are left with 2% to check on you whether you're in the second results or third results, right? So that's why it's really important to run some of these Google ad campaigns, right? So traditionally, if you don't want to pay, you do your search engine optimization. So I think we talked about SEO on Wednesday. So SEO, search engine optimization, takes time, right? So you need to optimize your words and do so many things. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, right? So if you are in a business where there are really, really big players, right? So right now, let's say pizza, there are really, really big players in pizza in Ghana now. If you've just started your pizza company, your normal search won't get you on the first page of the search results. Okay, or you started a company, anything, and they are really big players. Once people search, they will see the big players because Google places emphasis on, those people have done their SEO and they are, should I say, trusted brands. Okay, so because Google wants to preserve its reputation, of course, it wants to show the brands that are known, that they know people will find what they are looking for early enough. Okay, so that is where Google Ads comes in. So one aspect of Google Ads is not actually the amount of money you are preparing to spend that determines where you are ranked. We'll get into all of that. It's just a bit complex, but I want to take my time, and then down the line, I'll explain how the ad auction, ad rank, the maximum cost per bid, what all those things actually mean. Okay. Then there's the ads display. Okay, so there's a popular site in Ghana, Ghana Web, right? So this particular ad is a common display ad. I know most of you have seen a lot of this on so many sites. Now we are bombarded with them everywhere. Okay, so the Google one, it has a recognizable template. So you see this eye, and then there's a close button. So this eye, once you move your cursor to it, I don't know if I remember correctly, it says something like why this ads, or it just tells you this is Google Ads. Okay, so it just, once you click on that, it just tries to explain to you what this ad is, where it's from, that is from Google Ads and all that. So this is a typical example of a Google Ads display. And video ads, I mean, a lot of us have, okay, let me not say this, but of course, nobody really enjoys that you have to watch a video, and most often than not, you get these ads popping up, right? But this is an example of a Google video ad, right? So it's in two formats. So you see the video itself here, and on the right, there's a simple ad that leads to the website. Okay. Now, okay, so we are here. So this is a concept that really takes some time to grasp. Okay, so the simple idea here is everybody wants their ad, let's say a search or display. Everybody wants their ad to be shown. Everybody wants their ad to show first, right? So the example I gave about the digital marketing courses, realize that they are in, there's one placed on top followed by the next. They are in a particular order. Okay. Now the question you ask yourself is, if let's say there are so many digital marketing agencies, okay, how will Google can't place all of them in there? There has to be a mechanism that allows, you know, some sort of, should I say, fairness, or yeah, right? So there has to be a balance. That's the key word, right? So there has to be the normal search results, so that those of us who are doing the hardcore search engine optimization will also be present. And then there has to be a balance between those that actually pay for their ads to show. Okay, so there are lots of factors that goes into your ad being shown. Now, one of the key terms here is the ad auction. Now, many of you know what an auction is, right? So somebody has a Harry Potter book that was signed by J.K. Rowling's, or the original transcript or something that they want to sell. So they go there, and then the item is placed. So then people make different bids, right? So maybe I want to pay $20,000. Now that auction is straightforward. It's so simple, not complicated, right? So the highest bidder simply wins. But that is not the case for an ad auction for Google Ads. Okay, so you might bid the highest and not get the topmost position, or even get your item to show, right? So let me right. So let me use this to explain better. Okay. So the ad auction involves all these processes, right? So the auction, it happens in seconds, right? So it's not like companies are sitting down. Oh, people have said, let me bid $2. No. So when you are setting up your campaign, which we will do in subsequent slides, you define what you want to be your maximum bid. So that's what I have here. Your maximum cost per click. The second one, max CPC bid. Okay. So when you're planning your campaign here, you say you want a daily budget. You want to spend a daily budget of maybe $50, right? And then you say that I am willing to go as high as $2 per click. Okay, so that is what you have defined, right? So an ad rank is what basically determines whether your ad gets shown or not. So let me just focus on this image on the right here, right? So an ad rank is your CPC bid times your quality score. Okay, so ad rank basically will end you up maybe on the search ad results, and it also determines your position. Okay, now I will go over this again because I mean I've taught it before and I know it's a bit confusing. Okay, so it's whatever you do is also relative to what others are doing. Okay, so maybe there are 4 pizza joints or computer repair shops or something, right? So all of them want their display ad to show, right? Now, if whatever your result is dependent on whatever the other competitors also do, their bid and all of that, okay? So let me use this example from WordStream to explain even better. Okay, so let's take this first advertiser, right? So this first advertiser, when they were setting up their campaign, they are saying that I don't want to go more than $2. Okay, and then the second advertiser says I don't want to go more than 4, and then advertiser 3, and then 4, so 6, 8. So in our traditional terms, this guy should win, the fourth advertiser. Okay, why? Because that he's willing to pay the highest amount of money. But look at this, there's a key component called the quality score. Okay, so now let me explain the quality score too. So the quality score is made up of the relevance of your ad, the landing page, and the CTR. Okay, so the click-through rate. So Google will estimate, right? Will estimate how much they think your click-through rate will be. It can either be based on past campaigns that you've run, or they just do a forecast. Okay, so that's basically it, right? So the CTR, Google will estimate based on your past campaigns or based on like within that field, what they think your click-through rate will be. Now, that is one aspect. The other aspect is the relevance. So the relevance is also based on the keywords that you use. Okay, so the keywords have to be highly relevant to the ad that you are showing. Okay, so if somebody is selling, is doing a computer repair shop, right? So the keywords, you might probably do computer repair shops, okay? And then I, as an advertiser, I come and I say computer repair shops, maybe Adenta. So Adenta is a location in Ghana, okay? So now these two, if I'm a customer, if I'm somebody who's looking for a repair shop and I'm in Adenta, and I say computer repair shop in Adenta, the second advertiser, which is me, would have a better score because the words are more relevant or are more linked to what the user searched for. That's why I mentioned earlier that whenever you're using keywords, they need to be as specific as possible. If you are selling an African print, you make African print, you need to use words that are really, really relevant. So that also contributes to your quality score. And then there's the landing page. That's why I'm saying that this whole process is not it's not straightforward, right? It's a bit complex, right? So I'll try and go over it again, but in the end, I'll tell you what you can focus on, what you can control. Okay, it's good to understand these things, but it basically tells you there's something that you need to do to rank on top. You can't just try and like delve too much into this. There are some things, and those are the things I'm mentioning now. Your quality score. So you see, this guy is bidding just 2, but his quality score is really high, and that is basically just what I explained. His click-through rate, which is the relevance of the ad and the keywords he's using, and then the landing page. So that's what they're saying here, that the higher your quality score, the better your chances. Okay, so simply, the amount of money you are willing to bid, your max bid, times your quality score, which I've just highlighted, will be equal to your ad rank, which equates to your position, right? So based on the quality score and the max bid, this guy, there's a calculation that shows how much you actually end up paying. Okay, so we've explained here that your ad rank is your max bid times your quality score. So once Google calculates your max bid and your quality score, your ad rank is determined. Okay, so that's why I was saying that whatever you do is relative to what the other advertisers are doing. So what you pay, what this guy pays is the ad rank of the second person with the highest quality score divided by his quality score. Okay. I know it's a bit confusing, but let me just, right. So advertiser one has a quality score of 10, right? And an ad rank of 20. To determine how much advertiser one will pay, Google will take advertiser two's ad rank and divide it by his quality score. And then there's this addition here to $0.01. So this guy will end up paying an actual CPC of 1.61. Okay, and it's the same thing for the guys in this order. So this guy, the fourth advertiser, ends up paying the highest but ranked the lowest. Okay, now if this is too much or it's a bit complicated, don't worry. Once you are setting up a campaign, Google will give you, there's an estimation side that lets you know how much. So you don't have to get a calculator to try and understand all this. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea of what happens in the background. Okay, now when you know this, I mean, it just tells you to focus on your quality score. That's me, that's what I'd advise you pick from this. I've said a lot, it might be confusing. Just focus on one thing. Try and drive up your quality score, and you might not have to pay so much. Okay, now I don't know if I should move on or I should go over it again. Okay, so let me just move on. I don't know if anybody wants a deeper insight, or probably you can ask and then I'll go over it again. Right. So this is the section that I was referring to. Right. So you can just focus here. So if, for instance, I run an e-commerce shop, okay. So one thing that Google Ads helps you with is to defining the keywords. It gives you keyword ideas, and it's basically based on your URL and what people search for when they are looking for you, right? So you see here, if I enter maybe Jumia.com, it gives you keywords by relevance, right? So these are some of the words that the estimate people find Jumia with. Okay, I hope it makes sense. So maybe if I look at Jumia's keywords, it might give me a fair idea as to how, like, which keywords I can use. Or one thing that defines Jumia is Black Friday. That's why you see a lot of Black Friday keywords as well. Now, what happens is once I choose, maybe this is my first ad group, so I need to define my keywords. Once you choose the keywords, on the right here, you see daily estimates. So estimates are based on your keywords and daily budget. I've set a daily budget of $50, right? So once you choose a keyword, Google will tell you how many clicks they estimate you will get in a day. Okay, and then it also calculates cost per day, which is less than your budget, and the average CPC. Okay, so I mean, cost per click is just dividing the clicks by, I mean, your budget, okay, or the number of estimated clicks. So it's quite simple as opposed to the plenty things I was saying. Once you are setting up a campaign and you get here, it gives you an estimate of how much you'd actually get to pay. Okay, so let's quickly run through how to set up maybe Google Ads, and then we'll get back to this in the latter stages. Maybe it will have more relevance down the line. So for setting up, basically visit Google Ads. I've provided a link, so if this deck will be shared, you can quickly, visit and then start the process, right? So once you visit the link, there's this initial section, right? So what is your main advertising goal? Get more calls, get more website sales, or get visits to your physical location. Now, when you see down here, there's also another link. Switch to expert mode. So expert mode is where you find the display ads, the search ads, the video ads, the shopping ads, and all that. Okay, so this is a basic campaign setup, right? So let's say, for instance, we say get more visits to your physical location. You can choose between any of these goals, right? So at the end as well, I'll run you through some, like an end-to-end checklist if you want to run a Google Ads campaign. Now, one of the first things is to define your goal. What do you want to achieve with this Google Ads, right? So there are so many things that you can do. Either you want to get more website sales or more people to visit your website to sign up, or you want to get more calls, or you want to get more visits. Based on the goal you set up, it defines the kind of campaign that you can run. Okay, so once I choose, say, get more visits to my physical location, then you then define your business name and the website. Okay, very simple, basic steps. And then the next one is, because I want people to come to my physical location, then you need to define more like the location where you want the buffer, where you want this campaign to run. Okay, so remember I was saying earlier, the radius is 25 km. So this basically covers Accra, and you see our potential audience size, 3.6 million people per month. So it says this is an estimate of how many people search on Google in your selected locations. Okay, so not it's not the number of searches, but the number of people. Okay, so if you remember, these are unique people. So this means these are the number of people you can reach within this location. You can set up specific areas if you decide to. You can reduce the radius around your business as well. Maybe Accra is too large for you. Of course it is. You don't want everybody in Accra. Okay, I mean, it's not everybody in Accra that you expect to come to where you are. You are within a specific location. Maybe the radius is too large. You can obviously define that, right? So the next step is to decide the keywords that you want to use. Okay, so when people search, what keywords do you think they can find you with? I think I've highlighted this, and it's pretty straightforward. You need to be as specific as possible. So based on the keywords, Google also gives you an audience size. So you realize the audience size has reduced. So if I'm a website designer, these are the number of people that actually search for things like this. Okay, so 22,000 people every month search for a website designer, commercial website design, or e-commerce website design. So as I mentioned, you need to be really specific, and you need to do your research on the keywords that you think might be relevant to your business. Right. So once you get here, you're ready to create your ad. Now, these ads, I've showed you examples. So this is where you design your ad. Okay, so the headline one is the first section. So whatever message you want to carry goes here. Then you have your headline 2, your headline 3, and then you can put in some descriptions. Okay, and then down there you put your URL. So when they click on the headline, where do you want them to land? So that will be your landing page. Okay, pretty simple, straightforward. So here too, you need to think through it. What you think might reach out to people. If you are giving 20% off or something, you can define it here as well, so that it catches the eye of people. Then you provide a phone number as well. Now, when I showed you the digital marketing courses, you realize that there was only one of the ads that actually had a phone number there. Okay, so I mean, if the purpose of this is not to get people to call you, you can decide to obviously leave the phone number space, because actually you want people to come to your physical location. Okay, so this is where you define your daily budget. Okay, so when we get to the expert mode, you realize that that is where you have the freedom to be able to I mean, you can also do that here. You can enter your own budget, but in the expert mode, you can define your cost per click or how much your maximum cost per click. Okay, so if probably you want to start with Google Ads, you can try and run something like this. You define your own budget as low as possible so that you try and understand how it works before you get to the expert mode. Okay, so once you are done, it gives you a review of what you've done. So an estimated performance, these are a number of impressions that you're expected to get between 6,000 and 11,000, and how many clicks you can get per month. Okay, so when we get to the expert book, you can define what a click means to you. You can put monetary value on it or something, depends on whatever you want to do. Okay, so the campaign goal is what? Visit your shop front. And yeah, so this is just a review. And then obviously the last stage is where you set up payments and all that. Okay, so once you are done and you check your business page, you can see all the businesses or the campaign, sorry, the campaign, or yeah, the campaigns that you have. So you can add a new business, add a new campaign, create a new ad group. Okay, so when you get to the expert mode, this is the kind of campaigns that are available to you that you can run, right? So the first one was if you want to generate more calls or more visits to your location or website, sales and signups. So in expert mode, you still have your sales campaign, you have your leads campaign, website traffic, you want to drive traffic, product and brand consideration, brand awareness. So for product and brand consideration and brand awareness and reach, that is when you can do video ads. So more like on Twitter, on YouTube, or even on mobile apps. Now, I don't know if you guys have realized there's this new thing that they are doing with some of these mobile games. Okay, so some of these games you need to pay to get something, like get some coins or money to upgrade or something. So what they are doing now is they give freebies, but to get the freebies, you need to watch an ad. Okay, so ads are annoying to us, but they found a way to make me. So now when I'm playing a game, I want the ad to come because at the end of it, you do get some freebies in the end. Okay, so that is one new way that they are trying to drive reach and get people to watch more ads. Yeah, so that's why I indicated here. So once you choose the product and brand consideration, you get to run video ads, same thing with brand awareness and reach. And then you can create a campaign without a specific goal guidance. Okay, so in the basic mode, you define your goal. I've already mentioned the goals. In expert mode, you define your goal as well. It's one of the very key things that you need to define at the beginning. And then once you define your goal, it asks you whether you want to do search or display. So I think for this one, I chose website traffic. So I want more people to visit my website. I've set up my business website and I want more people to visit. So once you select that, it takes you to whether you want to do search or display. You already know what search and display are, right? So I won't repeat them. So these are the two that are available for you within this goal. Okay. So yeah, so conversion, I think I touched on conversion on Wednesday as well. So conversion is maybe when somebody makes a purchase or completes a purchase or something like that, you can define what success is for you as well. So with this, you need to install tracking code in your website. So I think there was a question on Wednesday on how to track, if I remember correctly, revenue or something. So you can define a similar conversion for Google Ads, but there has to be some implementation as well. Okay. So that's why it's telling you either you email instructions to your webmaster or you install tracking code yourself. So whichever option you choose, it gives you the code and what you need to do. Okay. So now our goal is website traffic. So this is just one goal. Okay. There are so many goals as I've already shown. Our goal is to drive website traffic. Then you define a campaign name. A campaign name probably can be something that relates to a specific campaign you're running now or something. Okay. And then the networks. So networks can be search network or display network. So Google has the widest display network of all the advertising um, platforms that are out there. Okay, so the network is partners, partners and websites where Google can show their ads. So it means it gives you a wider reach. I'll give you more numbers on this in the end. Okay. So once you define the general settings, which is your name and then the networks, then over here you can decide on how much you want to spend every single day. Okay. So once you decide maybe $50, and then there's the bidding, what do you want to focus on? And as I've mentioned, we've been doing cost per click, cost per click, cost per click. But you can possibly change that to conversion value or conversions, as I've already explained, which will require some dev implementation. Okay, so let's do the basic one, which is clicks. Okay. Now, Google, when you choose clicks, Google can help you estimate maybe how much your maximum bid should be, right? But you can define that yourself, as I've said so many times in the past. So over here, you change your bid strategy to manual CPC. Okay, so I want to define how much I want to pay, how much as far as I want to go for each click. Okay, so yes, so once you define that, then Google will not go over that, right? So if there's a search and then there's an auction and your bid is way lower, then you probably won't be considered. As I mentioned, it's dependent on what other people have bid. Okay. Now, I'll just skip this for now. But I don't know if you know site link extensions. So you can set up site link extensions. So maybe if your site shows up, right? So the digital marketing displays that came, you can set up an extension so that maybe a mini link to maybe a specific page, something of that sort, right? So just like we did for the normal, the non-expert mode, over here, you also need to define your keywords as well. So it's the same process, right? So once you choose your keywords, then there are the daily estimates to try and help you understand possibly how much you might end up paying as your average cost per click. Okay. And that's also dependent on the keywords that you are choosing. So it means you are bidding on each of these words. Right. Yeah, so this is where you define, sorry, I quickly have to jump into a meeting. So yes, let me try and run through this quickly. So this, just like we did for the earlier campaign, you need to define or design your text, what you want people to see. So like I've done here, Black Friday deals, half price for all devices. Okay, so I think I explained, this is your ad group, right? So you can have multiple text ads and there's a responsive search ad. So once I have maybe 2 text ads or 2 or 3, it can switch in between. So it's more like, yeah, responsive. So it changes. So it just keeps flashing back and forth. Okay. So basically, this is up to you. You define what you think will reach out to customers based on whatever product or business you are running. Okay. And so these are the different types. So there's the mobile view. So if somebody is on mobile, and then there's a desktop view, and then there's the display. So the display, whether it's on a third-party website or something. So I'm showing this to you so that you know how each of them looks like. And then there's a responsive ad. So the responsive ads, unfortunately, it won't play here because it's an image. But yeah, basically these are the forms. So there's a mobile, desktop, and display. And on each of these, it can be a responsive ad based on the number of ads that you set up. So when you check my responsive ads, I have one, two, yeah, so I have two. So it will switch between both. Okay. And to get a responsive ads, you need to make sure that there's a there's a measurement here, the ad strength. So it helps you determine if your ad, it's just like trying to estimate if it's really your words here are really relevant to what you want to sell. Okay. So yeah, so here too, of course, you set up your billing and your payment info, and then I mean you move on, right? So I don't know if it's possible to take questions. I need to go back and explain something because the next bit I'm going to touch on is how to get certified. So if there are any questions or anybody wants clarity on something.
Hi, Kwame. This is Carrie Sinclair. We're going to take a few questions at the end of the presentation, so you're welcome to wrap up the presentation in your time, and then we'll move on to questions.
Okay, all right, sure. That works. Okay, cool. So, right. So I've provided a link here as well, right? So if you want to get certified, you can go through these courses, right? So it gives you a fair idea of each of the types of Google Ads. So there's a search, display, and then there's video. So it goes down, right? So once you visit the link I've provided you here, there's this course that you can, so you see it's 3 hours, yeah, almost 4 hours course. So you can go through that. It gives you a basic understanding of what you need to know. And then it equips you to be able to, get certified and all that, right? So this is the key stats that I wanted to highlight, why this is really relevant, okay? So 86% of consumers use the internet to find a local business, okay? Now, this should say something to you. And of course, a lot of people cannot just get up and start looking for something. The internet is just a few seconds away. If they're looking for anything, the first thing that they do is to search. Okay, so one thing that they usually see in the digital marketing world is when people start typing in Google search, they are telling you what they want. They are telling you what they want to find. So you need to optimize your business. You need to run campaigns to let them find you. They are basically saying, I want an electrician, right? If you started an electrician company or something, you need to optimize so that once they search, they find you. And what Google Ads does is not the highest bidder that wins, which makes it fair. Because if it were so, then the businesses with the big bucks will end up ranking on top every single time. But if you are smart about Google Ads and you are able to leverage on it very well, you'll be able to get your ad shown every single time. And one factor to notice, your rank is not permanent. The auction is run every time a search is made. Okay, so you need to keep optimizing. You need to keep optimizing your search words. So if somebody searches for pizza right now, you might rank top, but based on what your other competitors do, your second time you might not rank top. Okay, so it keeps this sort of balance to make sure that everybody gets a fair representation. Okay. Now, 72% of consumers prefer to find information on local merchants via search. Obviously, I mean, it's comfortable. I just want to search online and then find what I'm looking for. And this is the stats I mentioned earlier. 98% of searchers choose a business that's on page 1. This is huge. So if your SEO is not strong, I mean, your best bet is like Google has like a shortcut of SEO, right? I know my SEO is not good, so I don't want to get to page 2. So what else can I do? You can run Google Ads to make your business more relevant. Now, why Google Ads? Google owns 71% of the search market share. I mean, 71%. That means you have a much wider reach. Google, as I mentioned earlier, Google owns the largest online display advertising network. So it's basically a no-brainer, okay? And then the last one even sends it home. Google display campaigns reach 80% of global internet users. I mean, where else would you want to run your campaigns? 80% of campaigns are reached to, 80% of global internet users most often get to see Google campaigns, okay? And then the last bit of the stats, businesses, so your ROI, which is the return on investment, businesses make an average of $2 in revenue for every $1 they spend on Google Ads, okay? So if you are taking this, literally means every amount you spend, you should expect to double it, okay? And then more businesses or marketers are expected to increase their PPC budgets. And then 70% of mobile searchers call a business directly from Google search. So when we're running the campaign and our objective was if our objective is to get more calls, you should expect that 70% of mobile searchers actually end up calling because of Google ad campaigns, okay? And those 70% of mobile searchers also end up taking an action within an hour of seeing the Google ad banners, okay? So these are basically some stats to just let you know why people keep running campaigns and people are going to keep running campaigns on Google ads, okay? So that's basically it. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you very much, Kwame. This is a quite insightful presentation. Really enjoy the technical side of understanding how Google Ads work. We do have just a couple questions from participants for you, and then potentially might open up the floor to participants if we have time to ask their own questions in moderation. So the first question, going back in your presentation, would be to ask, can you explain how the quality score is related to the content of the ads?
Yeah, hello, sorry, I think I was on mute. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's a whole complex process, right? So whatever ad you're serving, right? So remember when we're doing the search ads, right? So I put in some keywords, okay? So if maybe my landing page is expected to be, actually for some example, it's a pizza company, right? So if my landing page is supposed to be a pizza company, pizza, words and stuff, if I'm coming up with my campaign or my search, when you're setting it up, the catchy words or whatever words you want to use should relate to your landing page. I hope it's clear. So if when we're setting it up, I use maybe Black Friday deals, 25% off or something. So those words are supposed to be very, very relevant to what users should see on the landing page. Okay, so some people say it's more like a black box, how Google actually is able to, within seconds, look at those words and check on your landing page to see the relevance, right? But basically, like technically, that is how it works. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that answer. And just a quick note to participants, please fill out the poll that is popped up on your screen. This poll, these questions are very important for helping us understand if you appreciate the content we deliver and how we can provide better content going forward as well. So we really do need your quick feedback, yes or no, to the 3 questions on your screen. Kwame, the next question that we have from the floor, right, is related to keywords, right? So how do companies need to add keywords to their domain for visibility? Rather, do companies need to include keywords in their website domain for visibility within the ads infrastructure?
Yeah, so let me I think this is one of the things that we do on our side for Vodafone, right? So user input or feedback, is really, really important, right? So what we try to do is sometimes we just invite a few people and speak to them, right? So if you're looking for a specific service, what are the keywords that they intend using or to end up using? Okay, so it gives us a fair idea of what users actually search for. So let's say, and we don't do it generally, right? So we have various sections. We have a business, Vodafone Cash, that's the mobile money. So if you take Vodafone Cash, what are some of the keywords that people use to find us, right? So once we understand this and we are running campaigns anywhere, we understand how we should link our landing page and some of the words that we should use for the campaign, right? So some of these things are even done before we go live on campaign. So maybe you have a new product, right? So it's a simple question of how would you search for those products? So once we have those keywords, then in setting up the campaigns, we tend to use a lot of these keywords, and then those are relevant to the landing pages because a lot of these words end up popping up on our landing pages. I hope it makes sense.
Yes, I believe that does clarify. But to continue on from that thread, right? Do you have any other specific guidelines for how to create keywords?
Yeah. So as I showed you, Google gives you some relevant keywords based on the industry you're in. So once you enter URL, so what I did there was, I entered, my site is not Jumia, right? But I entered Jumia to try and understand what are some of the keywords that users find Jumia with. So for instance, if you are in cloth making, right? You know your competitors. If you don't know your competitors, then you need to know your competitors, right? So if you are now starting, there are definitely big players in your industry. So what you need to do is within that space, you can enter the URL of your competitor and just try and understand some of the keywords that people find your competitor with. It's not so you copy, but it's so you have a fair idea of what you can include. So the reason why some people do better than others on AdWords is because of simply strategies and thinking through some of these things, right? It's not an exact science. I can't go somewhere and get the best. If it were so, everybody would be running the same, right? So you have to be intelligent about it. This is one strategy I've given you. You can search for various people within your industry, have their URL in there, and try and understand how people find them, and then you improve upon it. It can't be perfect. So if you see a keyword or phrase that you think, nah, I can improve upon this, then you do that. You make it simple, you make it direct. You can add location to your keywords, right? So if I'm within a specific area, you can add one of your location as one of the keywords, because that's what people actually sometimes do. Maybe if you are in Canada, I want the best something in Vancouver. You can add something like that. So you can keep iterating and improving upon it. It's not an exact science, but like some of these strategies I've given you can help you understand which keywords to use. And you need to take your time with it and do a lot more research. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, market and competitor research is actually really valuable for developing ad campaigns. It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Can you, and apologies if this is at all redundant, but are there any other actions that a new business can take to guarantee an ROI? For example, budgeting for a PPC or something like this.
Yeah, so basically if you are now starting, I mean, the most basic advice is to not have too many campaigns or spend too much, right? So you can probably have a first test campaign to try and understand how it goes. Okay. So then you're able to estimate how much probably you are willing to spend, how your campaign performs. Okay. So probably run an initial campaign with maybe a few keywords, and then your budget's probably limited, right? So not too high. And then you try and understand maybe how that campaign performs. So based on that, you can probably improve upon it, or maybe decide to increase your max CPC bid, right? So yeah, you can just iterate, just start small, and then based on performance, you can just keep improving upon it until maybe you start seeing good results. But the key word here is to be patient, right? So it doesn't happen overnight. People end up doing this, and when they are not seeing the results, they give up too early, right? So it can take time. One other thing you can do is to segment the people that you probably want to target, okay? So you can put them in different groups and see how people respond. One of the key things that I keep driving most often is A/B test. I don't know how many people know what A/B test. So A/B test is having two variations of something, a campaign, and then pushing it out there and seeing which one does better. As a new business, A/B test should be like really basic to you, because you want to fail fast, right? Fail fast, learn fast, right? So you can have different kind of segments, have different kinds of campaigns, and then you see which ones perform better. So as you learn, you keep dropping some groups, you keep dropping some keywords, you keep dropping some segments, and then you just keep iterating. The keyword is to keep iterating, to be patient, and to A/B test, like keep testing and testing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, iteration is probably one of the biggest challenges and parts of strategy when it comes to designing a campaign or a product for that matter. And we have just one last question for you. Thank you for everyone who's been filled out the poll. We really do appreciate your input. The last question we have now is regarding radius. Can you provide a further explanation of this and the implication of setting a higher or lower radius?
Right. So, something just popped up on the previous question. So, Google Analytics, right? So, if I want to class, that's how we can link. So, Google Analytics, I told you, if you set up Google Analytics on your website, you know which keywords people use to find you, right? So, that is one main avenue as well. You can gather insights from there on how people find you. Now, back to radius, right? So, every business happens within a specific location, right? So it depends on the kind of business that you're running. Now, if I have an electrician consultancy, right, I obviously want to reach people within the nearest proximity. Okay, I want people around me to find me quickly, right? As opposed to people far away. Okay. Now, what that helps you do is you're able to reach people within your locality, you're able to build an audience around you and then expand from there. Okay. So probably the radio should be as small as possible if you're a new business. Okay. So that you're able to target people closer to you. Proximity is really key. With the closer they are, the more likely that you're able to convert them, as opposed to somebody who is miles away, right? So even if I open a new pizza shop, I probably want to reach out to people that are really close to me. Let them know that, hey, I just opened. You guys are close to me. Why don't you come around? You don't expect somebody who is more like an hour away from your business to travel. Of course, there are pizza shops close to him. Why would he travel all the way to you? The best approach is to get people around you, people close to you, and then probably word of mouth takes over. Then you become like, people get to know you, people bring in your friends and all that. Yeah, I hope that helps.
So it really does relate to the nature of the campaign that you're running, and if you want people to come to your physical location, or if you're trying to appeal to a broader cross-regional area, right, and markets. Okay. So I think I'm just going to ask you one more time to ask, were you able to touch on the quality score and in relation to content of ads?
Yeah, I think I
okay.
Yeah.
All right, because we've seen that question pop up a couple times. We will be sending this presentation out to all participants.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Right. I'll ask, if possible, if it'll be possible to share your contact details with participants. Otherwise, we'll have participants contact us directly and forward any questions to you. It's up to your discretion, of course.
Yeah, sure. I can definitely share that. Yeah.
Okay. This has been a really insightful presentation. I think it helps a lot of us to get into the technical details of creating a successful Google Ads campaign. And since we have no more questions now, I'll turn the presentation back over to Edison to wrap up. Thank you again, Kwame.
Thank you, Kwame. Fantastic session. I think all the women-owned businesses for this session and the last session, they were giving rave reviews. So we really look forward to having you again. And I wish everyone a very pleasant weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks
Much.
so much.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Happy Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye.